So how's that new Icaria card? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Hey everyone, welcome to Eternal Brews. Oh, I'm very glad to be saying that. It's been a little while since we've done an Eternal Brew, and we have a good one for you today. This is our Expedition Masters deck, Materia, which we just took from Diamond 3 to Masters 1 on an 18 out of 20 streak. Real good times. Monoshadow deck, playing around with the new cards from the promo. So we're just going to show this off and see if people are interested in playing around with it. It's really, really cool stuff. It's for using the promo cards, so these just came out today. They're part of the pre-order bonus, so if you pre-order, then you get to play with these cards a little bit early, but they will be available on May 4th, so you can build that deck then as well. So for the moment, we're just going to be showing off a deck with some of the fancy new cards to show some of the new things that are coming to Eternal, because I'm actually legitimately excited after playing around with this deck. I had a really good time, and the deck attacked a lot of stuff in the meta that I have been very much sick of. It was particularly good against dragons. It had some good matchups against most of the decks that I wanted it to have good matchups against, and it also managed to play around with a card that I've been trying to make work for a very long time, Unseen Longbow, which is where the deck gets its name, since we are doing some ranged stealing. So this is Materia. The idea behind it is that we're playing a monoshadow deck with a lot of value cards. Eremot the Mindsplinter and Icaria First Reaper, our new promo, and our new fancy summon with a kill, entomb with destroy all spells. Very, very good stuff. Really, really nasty. As well as Incarnus, Makkar's Listener, which draws a bunch of cards. Dizo, which steals cards. Cat Burglar, which discards relics, a very critical piece in a shadow-based deck. Dreamsnatcher, which benefits from them discards, and Blightmoth, which corrupts and kills all sorts of small things, messes with tokens, deals with a lot of like the sacrifice setups, and generally sort of stabilizes your deck. It also enables Dizo, Cabal, Racketeer by reducing the attack power of units you might want to steal later. And it's really, really solid against quite a few flyers, which is very, very handy stuff. In congruence with this, we are also playing around with, since we have a lot of unblockable units, Beastcaller's Amulet and Unseen Longbow, two cards with very strong infiltrate effects. Beastcaller's Amulet infiltrates to play a 5/5 beast, a very good card to be playing for cheap, and Unseen Longbow plays Hold Up, which means that you can discard two cards out of your opponent's hand and also steals power, which means that you can get a fairly aggressive card in, steal a bunch of power, and then play another aggressive card and really stack up the damage. I would say this card is mostly useful for its pledge, but the ability to discard cards from your opponent's hand is crucial in the late game and makes this card really, really modal and somewhat versatile in general respect. I would say that most of the time when we were playing with it, we tried very hard to save it for turn 6, but every once in a while it becomes a very useful turn 3 card to mess around with your opponent, and very frequently it is a good pledge, because having pledge in a deck tends to stabilize your power base a lot, and that's something you're looking for, stability and consistency in a deck like this that is monocolored and also wants to just stack a bunch of threats on top of each other. Also, we have Avoid Death, discards units of your opponent of your choice from your opponent's hand. This is a great way to mess with your opponents. It enables Dreamsnatcher, which is a very big deal. It helps out by making it so that your opponent has less creatures and more spells in their general sort of setup, which means that Icaria is going to have a lot more board impact because it will kill the most important creature, and then the things that your opponent will have left will not be creatures, they will be spells. Kind of useful stuff in that respect, but it also enables Dreamsnatcher. It helps out with a couple of other cards in the list, and it basically just makes it a lot easier to get your unblockable units across while not being threatened as much from whatever's in your opponent's hand. It gets rid of Grown-Up Stranger, gets rid of a lot of the scary dragons, gets rid of some support cards for the other decks. If you're playing around with like Armory and that kind of thing, you generally don't want to see the unit that's sort of like keeping you out of killing a site. That's the kind of thing that it really helps with. So it's good against strangers, it's good against a wide variety of decks in the field, and I think it's just a very powerful card in general. Finally, we have Condemn. The idea behind this, of course, is to market. We are looking for Seek Power to make sure that we can fix up to 4, since we have a wide variety of shadow cards that we're really, really into. Secret Passage gives us unblockable and gives us the ability to kill Icaria Icaria on the turn that we are wanting to kill it, if it gets permafrosted or something like that. So handy stuff, not necessarily the most important card, but the unblockability does add to the ability to get across with a lot of these other cards, and anything that isn't unblockable can be made unblockable, which is a big deal. We have Sabotage, a great way to pick out a particular spell or attachment once you know the composition of your opponent's hand and you have a very good idea of whether or not they have spells or not. I think that Avoid Death hits more frequently than Sabotage, and that's part of the reason why it's a really good card, but if you know that you're up against a deck with a lot of spells in it, you can Sabotage, pick the particular spell that you want. Also good for if you face down an early Tome of Horrors or something like that. You can grab that card, get what you want out of it. Edict to Makkar kills the big stuff, really not too much to be said about that. Vara's Intervention helps out with killing the little stuff. We have Vara's Favor in this list, so in conjunction with Vara's Favor, Condemn, and Vara's Intervention, most mid-sized threats can be dealt with that combination of cards. It's not the greatest set of combinations, but it does help out a little bit, and it gives us one more route to unblockability as well. So we're a big fan of this one, but there's also other stuff that can go in this particular format. The deck is currently fully monoshadow. We played around with Xenon a little bit, so if you're interested in that, you can also add in Xenon Insignias and Xenon Banners to get access to Banish, which is another powerful relic destruction. In general, we were finding that Cat Burglar was doing that job very well. Other cards that make interesting replacements, Felrelk's Infiltrator is a pretty solid card in this list because we are using Makkar's Quiver, a removal card that also powers up all of our mono-colored units. Makkar's Quiver plus Felrelk's Infiltrator plus Unseen Longbow is an immediate draw of a particular card from your opponent's deck, which tends to be really useful when you're also making them discard a bunch of cards. It didn't end up making the final cut because it's a pretty small unit and because we needed Cat Burglar more to deal with relic-based strategies, but it's something to consider if you're looking for legendary substitutions or substitutions for the current cards that aren't craftable, such as Icaria and Dizo, Cabal, Racketeer. Okay, so that's the deck. It's really just ridiculously powerful. We've had a pretty good run with it so far. I would say that we will see where the meta adapts as this goes along, but as of now, this is a very solid grind list and a really fun brew. I've really enjoyed playing with it, and I'm happy to show it off to you. So without further ado, here is Bug Materia. Alright, here we are up against Ixion. Oh man, I'm already getting matched up against reasonably high-level masters. Vara's Favor, Dreamsnatcher, Blightmoth, and Icaria First Reaper is our starter. Looks like a perfectly balanced hand. We got some 2-drops, we got some power seeking, so we can get up to Icaria. We're bound to draw the things in the middle as we go along, so nothing wrong with this one. Definitely going to keep it on first. We have Emblem Makkar in this deck. I don't use it very often since Icaria is very important, but we still decimate with it on occasion. You can cut some of these if you want to. I don't feel like the damage is always good for you, and it's, it's a reasonable card to be playing just because you don't have any other options for power, really. So if you're not playing the Xenon version, certainly give it a shot. Primal, we have Two-Face here, so the trade is not great. We can at least do Blightmoth here, and if I don't want to attack in with the 2/2, that is a possibility. I'm thinking that we'll probably just do Blightmoth and then go for Vara's Favor next turn, so yeah, we'll just kill that, or damage that. And then, yeah, I would say probably not attack in. I could have attacked in and sort of offered the trade, but I had the feeling they would take that, and also, I would rather control the battlefield a little bit more. So this looks like a Tome of Horrors mill deck. Best thing to do with the Tome of Horrors mill deck is to try to keep the board clear as much as humanly possible. And it looks like we're going to get a decent chance to do that. Now, because I am seeing Tome of Horrors right now, we have to be careful with the second Tome of Horrors. Second Tome of Horrors is where it gets scary. I think we play Cat Burglar here as opposed to going for the Vara's Favor into the attack. Just see if we can get a second tome, because if we can, great. Nice. All right. That gets us a 3/3, and we get to attack with a 1/2 as well. No second tome means it's going to be a lot harder to Savage Incursion me, and that's the way that this deck wins the game. So we're going to do our best to prevent the mill, and as we get set up, we're going to set up Icaria First Reaper, which, yeah, Icaria First Reaper is going to do just fine here. All right, Eremot Mindsplinter plays. I do have Vara here, Vara's Favor here as well. This is a really interesting one. Attacking here is kind of cool. I think that both this attack and Cat Burglar make sense. I could also push with everything, and I don't hate that much, since I'm probably not playing too intensely here. It's a tough call. I think we're going to do this attack. If we don't get the block, then we just play Eremot Mindsplinter and we have a nice blocker. I need to get the 3/3 down if I can. I'm kind of stalling a little too much against Tome, which I don't love, but I think that overall we're in a decent defensive position, and we can make that defensive position a little bit more aggressive based on what we're playing. So we'll see what ends up happening. Okay, got a Condemn. That won't kill the 3/3, but it will set up... Well, actually, it will kill the 3/3 because we can Vara's Favor, Condemn, Vara's Intervention. But I think what I'd rather do is just throw this in. Attack with both of these. And consider attacking with Eremot, because we do have quite a bit of damage here. We could feasibly get everything we want done this turn. I think here Eremot is still doing pretty well on defense, so we'll just push the 6 damage in. And we'll use the other Vara's Favor to knock that 3/3 down a little bit, set up for a better Condemn later on, or set up for Icaria for Reaper. Okay, so I've got Eremot, I've got Icaria, they've got Wisdom, they're not running like 2 tomes, they're unit light, which is what we want to see. We have a pretty good matchup against this deck because of our Cat Burglars. The Cat Burglar actually got the hit here, so we're relatively favored, but there's still some risks here, obviously. Transpose, I don't think I care too much about that. We would want to maybe Condemn to toss the Aegis so that Icaria can ditch all spells. I think I like that play right now, since I'm not going to be using Condemn on anything else of theirs at the moment, and since Icaria costs a full 6, so we might as well trade in, actually not get anything, because we want that power. Oh, and it's still their turn. I didn't realize they were doing all of that at end of turn. Alright, Fel Ritual there, seems fine. Dark Talon Wyvark gets a discard here if they want it, but I think what we'll probably do is we'll just block. And trying to steal a card, which makes perfect sense. The discard makes a little less sense. I think you're going to take a lot more damage as a result of that. So let's go ahead and play the Icaria out. Get our 6 damage in. Now the bad news is here is they can potentially top deck an Icaria. That's just random luck. There's nothing else that can really hurt us here. Other cards of ours could be bad, like Dizo might be a little tricky. I think most likely what's happening here is they're going to grab the card and they're going to concede. So we'll see what ends up happening, but since they grabbed a card, I feel like it's not looking too good for them. We don't have any more discards, so we'll just go ahead and go on in. If Icaria dies, I believe Dreamsnatcher actually gets a bonus, so that might be enough to push. We'll see. Discarding spells. No spells to discard. Good to know. Dizo, Cabal, Racketeer. We're going to keep that in hand since the steal is really useful, and any defensive cards we want to disable and turn into offensive cards, because that's a good deal for us. Kindo Shadow Step. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's why we have Dizo. Dreamsnatcher, okay. So Dreamsnatcher's the card that's got to go, I believe. Ooh. I actually managed to play 3 units this turn, which is really rough. Okay, well, we can't do anything about that except for, of course, steal the 2/2 and attack with the 2 deadly units. We could steal the Dreamsnatcher and attack with the 2 deadly units. That looks okay. I think in either situation we don't quite get it. Kindo could be fun, but I think it's bad. Grease the right palms. Yeah, let's steal Dreamsnatcher. Swing with all 3 of these since there's no lifesteal here. We do have to discard some cards, which puts us a little bit closer to Savage Incursion, but the amount of damage we're doing, plus the fact that we have no lifesteal on our opponent's side, probably does it for us. Also, Kindo just killed itself, which is generally a pretty good deal. Stealing for 4. I don't think there's a 3-drop that saves them. Blightmoth's kind of helpful. But, yeah, the Tome, not going to do quite enough. This deck does have legs. It can attack in for what you need. Alright, good stuff. Alright, here we are up against Straythorn. I would say that right now we are gonna redraw this. It doesn't look like a hand that we can really play with because we only have the 1 power. No Longbows to pledge, nothing really exciting happening there. Blightmoth, Makkar's Quiver, Cat Burglar. This is a rough hand. Not traditionally something I would keep on first. Blightmoth stalls okay, and so does Makkar's Quiver, so if it's aggro, I'm kind of okay with it. I think we're gonna give it a shot. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Obviously, if we don't draw the 3rd power here, things are bad. So this might have been too risky a hand overall. I'm still a little skeptical of this keep. Okay, we got the Makkar's Quiver though, so everything's fine. Nothing to be worried about at all. We can do Cat Burglar next and just start setting up.
We earn our...
Alright. Lead out Blightmoth instead. Kills that stranger, but good, and gets us into a good position to set up for whatever we're doing next. Okay, I can play Cat Burglar, and I can play Incarnus here. Since we haven't seen anything, we have to expect that there might be some sort of cool relic. Let's go ahead and toss. There's a pause here. Nothing to discard, though. Alright. So next up, we're going to bet on Incarnus, or we're going to Makkar's Quiver, something that's scary. But it looks to me like this is sort of a red-yellow aggro deck. We've seen a couple of these around the ladder. They're pretty good against this list, but not amazing. Incarnus is good, Makkar's Quiver is good. We don't play Makkar's Quiver first in most circumstances. We usually use it as removal when we can. Fel Ritual and Mysterious Waystone and Felrog's Infiltrator, which, as we've mentioned, is a decent card in this list. I am uncertain. Fel Ritual is removal, which is almost always a good idea. Felrog's Infiltrator is also decently strong here. And Mysterious Waystone honestly doesn't hurt against a deck that's probably primarily aggro. But there's going to be some Relic Destruction in there as well. I think we take the Fel Ritual because it's a safe bet, and it's an easy card to get some advantage out of. Okay. Got another Seer out. Not a big surprise there. Fel Ritual can still kill any number of things. And Icaria, First Reaper, with any luck, will also be able to do that thing. But we do need to find that shadow first, so. Got a fire into a Grottos Stranger. So yeah, Fel Ritual was a perfectly safe bet. Is there a second Grottos Stranger? Let's find out. Yes, there's a Makkar Stranger. All right. Those 2 strangers being gone means that we're in great shape. At this point, the only card remaining is Unfamiliar Interloper, and any big strangers that played off the top, we can obviously hit with Icaria as long as we draw power soon. So we're not too worried, and Makkar's Quiver also happens to kill the Unfamiliar Interloper, which is something else that we're very excited about. Eremot, Mindsplinter is exactly the kind of thing we need. It's flying pressure that actually hurts our opponent for top decking cards, so we're really excited to see that. I'm going to go ahead and play that down and see what we can do with it. Icaria is the thing I want, though. I want that shadow. So here's hoping. Alright, Salvo usually leads into Seer, but the Seers are main boards, so more likely to see... I mean, I can't see Edict to Kodash. I'm not sure what the 2-drop is here. Oh, they just had a Seer that they shuffled in the market from before. Or, no, never mind. They had a Phoenix Stone. Cool. Alright, well that's not anything that we're going to be too troubled by. We have the Icarias, so we can kill that. Now we have a 5/5 blocker against the Phoenix Stone, which is great. And our Makkar's Quiver can set up and kill some small things on the ground.
We trust in ourselves.
Strange Gladiator obviously doesn't do anything. We are good to go as far as attacking is concerned. And we can kill the Strange Gladiator. I believe once we kill the Strange Gladiator, that will be game. It seems very likely that our opponent will concede at that point.
Put them down. Doom comes. Rend and tear.
All right. Rend and tear. So we have, yeah, that's gonna be the game. So not bad stuff. Overall, like the value against like the Fire Time deck is pretty good. I think it does pretty well against those circumstances. And as you can see, that big-bodied blocker is really good against a wide variety of dragons and like phoenixes, a lot of other things like that. Overall, really solid stuff. All right, that's it for today. So we'll probably be showing off some other highlights from our Master's Climb in the future, so look forward to some more highlights as well. But yeah, overall, this deck was really a lot of fun. I'm very happy with how Dizo, Cabal, Racketeer has performed. I'm very happy with how Icaria, First Reaper has performed. Both of them solve certain problems. Dizo's been stealing a lot of cards that are very relevant to a lot of the small base strategies, and Icaria is killing a lot of the big flyer strategies that have been sort of plaguing the metagame for a very long time. So overall, it's looking like it's going to be an interesting shift in the meta, which is a little more than I expected, actually, out of the current set. I'm very excited for the bundle as it comes out. Again, these cards release on May 4th, and you can pre-order now to find them early if you're interested in playing with the 5 and playing with this deck in particular. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the deck. And once again, I'll see you all later with more Eternal Brews. Have a good one.